The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated quietly in the darkness between stars. Inside its great meeting hall, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that glowed with soft blue light. The air buzzed with tension as translators worked to change alien words into sounds others could understand. Lee Hyun sat perfectly still at the human table. His black hair was neat, his dark suit clean and pressed. Next to him, Park Soo fidgeted with her datapad, her fingers tapping nervously on its smooth surface. Behind them, 3 other humans waited in silence. Kim Min, Choi Dao, and Dr. Yoon Ae. All 5 humans wore the same calm expression, but their eyes watched everything. The Zephyrian delegate stood up. Its body looked like living crystal, and when it moved, tiny lights danced inside its transparent skin. For arms waved as it spoke in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. "We have serious concerns about humanity," the crystal being announced. Its words echoed in the large room. In only 300 years, humans have taken more space than most species claim in 3,000 years. Around the table, alien heads nodded. The Manthari delegate clicked its insect-like mandibles in agreement. Its 6 eyes all focused on the humans as its antenna twitched. The tree-like Sylvani rustled its bark-covered arms, making sounds like leaves of storm. Lee Hyun did not move. His face showed nothing. "Humans build too fast," continued another alien, this one from the Altarian Confederation. She looked almost human, but had silver skin that shimmered in the station's light. "They ask too many questions. They go places without permission." The Corvani intelligence chief stepped forward. His gray skin was covered in scars, and his red eyes glowed in the dim light. "Human ships appear in our space without warning. They scan our worlds and leave before we can respond. This behavior is concerning." More aliens spoke. Each one had complaints about humanity. Too aggressive, too curious, too unpredictable, too dangerous. Park Soo's hand tightened on her datapad. She wanted to speak, to defend her species. But Lee Hyun had been clear. Listen first. Respond only when asked directly. The ethereal collective's representative floated above its chair, its body made of pure energy that shifted between colors. When it spoke, its voice came from everywhere at once. "Our seers have seen troubling futures, the energy being whispered, paths where human ambition leads to chaos. We must act now to prevent these dark timelines." The Luminari delegate, another energy being but one that looked like living starlight, pulsed brighter. "We agree. Humans must accept guidance. They must learn proper galactic civilization." Finally, the Zephyrian delegate raised all 4 arms for silence. The room became quiet except for the soft hum of the station's power systems. "The Council has decided," it announced. "Humanity will accept new rules. Your expansion will be limited to approved sectors only. All new human technology must be reviewed by Council experts before use. You will participate in mandatory cultural programs to improve your aggressive nature." The crystal being's lights flickered faster as it continued. "You will reduce your military fleet by half. Your trade routes will be supervised, and you will place Council observers on all human worlds to ensure compliance." The silence that followed was complete. Even the station's humming seemed to stop. All alien eyes turned to Lee Hyun. Some looked satisfied, expecting easy agreement. Others seemed nervous, as if they sensed something dangerous in the human stillness. Lee Hyun stood slowly. His movement was smooth and controlled. Park Soo and the other humans rose with him, their actions perfectly coordinated, without any visible signal. "We appreciate the Council's concerns," Lee Hyun said. His voice was quiet, but carried clearly through the large room. He did not raise his voice. He did not show anger. He spoke like someone discussing the weather. "We will need time to consider your proposal." The Altarian delegate leaned forward, her silver skin catching the light. "Surely we can discuss terms? Find a compromise that works for everyone." Lee Hyun gathered his datapad from the table. The small device made no sound as he picked it up. Park Soo and the others did the same, their movements like a careful dance. "There is nothing more to discuss today," Lee Hyun replied. The humans walked toward the exit. Their footsteps made soft sounds on the metal floor. Other species watched them go, some confused, others growing worried. At the great doors that led out of the council chamber, Li Hyun paused. He turned back to face the assembled aliens, his expression still calm and unreadable. "We thank the council for making their position clear," he said. "We will make our position clear very soon." The door slid shut behind the humans with a quiet hiss. In the council chamber, 12 alien species sat in uncomfortable silence, suddenly unsure they had just solved a problem or created a much bigger one. Outside, the 5 humans walked through the station's corridors without speaking. Their faces showed nothing, but something had changed. Something important had ended in that room, and something else was about to begin. The galaxy would soon learn what happened when humanity stopped asking for permission. 3 weeks later, Captain Kim Tae stood on the bridge of his transport ship New Seoul. Through the large window, he could see the planet Altair Prime spinning slowly below them. The blue and green world looked peaceful, but Kim Tae knew that chaos was spreading across its surface. "Final group is coming up now, sir," reported Lieutenant Choi Min from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing controls as she tracked the shuttle, carrying the last humans from the planet. Kim Tae nodded but said nothing. He watched the small shuttle rise from the planet's atmosphere, carrying Dr. Lee Na and her research team. They had spent 5 years on Altair Prime, teaching the aliens how to grow food in harsh soil. Now they were leaving, and their work would die with them. On the planet below, Altarian farmers stood in their fields, watching the shuttle disappear into space. Their crops were already showing signs of trouble. Without human knowledge, the advanced growing systems would fail within months. The blue-skinned aliens had become too dependent on human help. The same scene was happening all over the galaxy. On Corvani Prime, the Space Traffic Control Center was in panic. The computers that guided ships safely through hyperspace were breaking down. Only humans knew how to fix them, but all the humans were gone. In the medical centers of the Manthari Collective, insect doctors tried desperately to understand human-made medicines. The formulas were too complex. Without Dr. Park Ji and her team, sick aliens would have no cure for diseases that humans had learned to treat easily. "Sir, we have clearance to leave," Choi Min announced. "Take us home," Kim Tae ordered. The transport ship turned away from Altair Prime and jumped into hyperspace. Behind them, the planet's communication stations tried frantically to contact the departing humans. Their calls went unanswered. Across human space, similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. Ambassador Lim Wu closed a human embassy on the Sylvani homeworld, packing centuries of diplomatic gifts into storage containers. The tree-like aliens watched sadly as their friends prepared to leave. "Please reconsider," pleaded Elder Barksinger, his wooden face creaking with emotion. "We can find another way." Lim Wu stopped packing and looked at the alien he had worked with for 20 years. "The council made their choice clear," he said quietly. "Now humanity makes ours." On the industrial world of Corvani 5, Engineer Bay Sue supervised a shutdown of the fusion power plant she had designed. The gray-skinned Corvani workers watched nervously as she sealed the control systems with codes only humans knew. "The plant will run for 6 months on automatic," she told the Corvani supervisor. "After that," she shrugged and walked away. The supervisor's red eyes widened with fear. Without the power plant, their entire world would go dark. At Nexus Prime, the great space station where the council met, the last human diplomats prepared to leave. Dr. Yoon Ae, the chief medical officer, handed her a replacement data pad containing thousands of research files. The replacement was an ethereal collective member, a being made of pure energy that flickered nervously as it tried to hold a physical device. "The synthesis protocols are very complex," Dr. Yoon Ae explained patiently. "You may find them challenging. The energy beings form pulse with worry. Surely you can stay to help us understand?" Dr. Yoon Ae shook her head. "Humanity has been asked to leave the table. We are leaving completely." Within hours, all human ships had departed from non-human space. The borders of human territory became sealed barriers marked by automated beacons. Any ship that approached received the same message: "Human space. No entry permitted. Violators will be removed." The aliens had expected humans to argue, to negotiate, to beg for a compromise. Instead, humanity simply vanished. On Altair Prime, the hydroponic farms began failing after 2 weeks. The complex nutrient mixtures that humans had perfected turned poisonous without proper adjustment. Crops died in the fields. The Corvani space lanes became dangerous as traffic control systems crashed. Ships collided in hyperspace because the navigation computers could not calculate safe routes. The Corvani had to close entire trade routes. In the Manthari medical centers, patients with cross-species diseases began dying. The treatments required exact chemical balances that only human doctors understood. The insect physicians tried to copy the formulas but failed every time. The Zephyrian trade network collapsed when the automated cargo systems stopped working. Human programmers had designed the logistics software that moved goods between worlds. Without updates and maintenance, the system fell apart. Even worse, the Council realized they had become dependent on human innovation in ways they had never imagined. Human-designed engines were more efficient. Human computers processed information faster. Human medical knowledge saved lives that aliens could not save alone. But now the humans were gone, and they were not answering calls. In the council chambers, the 12 species gathered for emergency meetings. But the table felt empty with the human seats vacant. The discussions went nowhere. Without human input, problems seemed harder to solve. The ethereal collective seers tried to look into human space with their psychic abilities, but found only darkness. It was as if humanity had pulled a curtain across their entire civilization. What are they doing in there? Asked the Altarian delegate, her silver skin pale with worry. No one had an answer. For the first time in galactic history, humanity had completely cut itself off from the rest of the galaxy. The Council had wanted to contain the human problem. Instead, they had lost access to human solutions. And in the silence from human space, something much more troubling was beginning. 6 months had passed since humanity vanished behind their borders. Commander Onbo sat in the intelligence briefing room of his exploration ship Tegu's Pride, staring at readings that made no sense. "Run the scan again," he told Sensor Specialist Lita. Her fingers danced across the control panel, but the results remained the same. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures in the Keth Nebula. Industrial operations on a huge scale." Onbo leaned forward in his chair. The Keth Nebula was a death trap. Radiation levels that could cook a ship's crew in minutes. No species had ever tried to build anything there. "How is that possible?" he asked. Lita shook her head. "The radiation should kill anything living, but these readings show orbital platforms, mining stations, and what looks like terraforming equipment. The holographic displays showed impossible structures floating in the deadly nebula. They had the clean, efficient design that humans preferred, smooth curves and practical angles." "When did this instruction begin?" Onbo asked. "Based on the structural patterns, at least 4 months ago, sir. They would have started building before they even left the council." Onbo felt a chill run down his spine. Humanity had planned this withdrawal long before the council meeting. While aliens argued about human expansion, humans had already been expanding into places no one else dared to go. "Sir," Li Da's voice carried alarm, "I'm reading similar signatures in 17 different locations. The void reaches, the crystal graveyards, the ghost spiral, all the places we marked as uninhabitable. On the ship's bridge, Communications Officer Park June monitored every frequency, searching for human transmissions. The space around them was silent, but the evidence was everywhere. Humanity had not retreated. They had relocated to the most dangerous regions of space. Set course to the nearest installation. Onbo commanded, "We need to see this with our own eyes." 3 days later, they arrived at coordinates where their sensors had detected a massive mining operation. Onbo stood on the bridge, looking at empty space. "Where is it?" he asked. Lita checked her instruments frantically. "The operation was here, sir. Energy readings, mineral extraction, artificial gravity fields. Everything pointed to a major installation. Now there was nothing, just empty space and smooth asteroids where rough mining should have left jagged scars. The installation had vanished completely, as if it had never existed. "Look at this." Park June called from a station. "These asteroids have been perfectly processed. Every useful mineral removed with surgical precision. But there's no debris, no waste, no signs of how it was done." Ambo examined the readings. The mining operation had been more efficient than anything in galactic history. No alien species could extract materials as cleanly. Over the following weeks, similar reports came from across the galaxy. The Manthari Collective reported ancient defense satellites around dead worlds mysteriously shutting down overnight. Archaeological sites that had killed dozens of research teams were found completely excavated with no damage to surrounding areas. Dr. Song Hai, the galaxy's top intelligence coordinator, compiled the reports with growing fear. In her office on Central Station, she studied data from 50 different incidents. "They're not just hiding," she told her assistant, Officer Kong Jin. "They're learning. Every dangerous phenomenon, every piece of ancient technology we've been too scared to touch, humans are studying all of it." The most disturbing reports came from deep space patrols. Captain Omin transmitted footage that made Song Hai's blood run cold. The recording showed a human team working inside a quantum anomaly that had destroyed 3 research vessels. They worked for 6 hours in an environment that should have vaporized them instantly, Omin reported. When they finished, the anomaly was gone, not contained or redirected, completely eliminated. But it was the humans themselves that truly frightened the observers. The few glimpses captured by long-range sensors showed people who moved differently. They were taller, more graceful, responded to commands faster than biological reflexes should allow. "Enhanced," whispered Dr. Kong Say, the Council's leading expert on alien psychology. "They're changing themselves." On the edge of the Ghost Spiral, Scout Captain Lee Su watched human ships moving through gravitational fields that should have crushed any vessel. The ships flowed like liquid mercury, bending and reshaping as they navigated impossible hazards. "How are they doing that?" asked their navigator, Pilot Yun-ho. Lee Su had no answer. The human vessels seemed to ignore the laws of physics that bound everyone else. More reports arrived daily. Human teams dismantling force fields that protected ancient ruins for millennia. Human engineers reversing the polarity of black holes to use them as power sources. Human scientists solving mathematical problems that had puzzled the greatest minds in the galaxy for centuries. "We're no longer dealing with the humanity we knew," Dr. Kong Say reported to the emergency council session. His voice shook as he spoke. "They're adapting to challenges and environments at a rate that suggests either impossible technological advancement or evolution beyond our understanding." The council chamber fell silent. Through the station's windows, they could see the edge of human space glowing with strange energies. Whatever humanity was doing behind their borders, it was changing the fundamental nature of space itself. In the months since leaving the council table, humans had not just survived in the galaxy's most hostile regions. They had mastered them. And now, something far more dangerous was emerging from the darkness of human space. The galaxy had wanted to contain humanity. Instead, they had unleashed something unprecedented. The reports started as whispers from the outer colonies, but within weeks they reached the highest levels of galactic government. Intelligence Coordinator Song Hai sat in her office on Central Station, surrounded by holographic displays showing incident reports from across known space. Her hands shook as she read the latest transmission from the Corvani Border Patrol. Captain Nam Gill's voice crackled through the speakers, filled with confusion and fear. "The defense platforms around Kepler 7 have gone silent," Nam Gill reported. "All 47 orbital weapons that have protected the dead world for 2,000 years. They didn't malfunction. They were shut down from the inside. Perfectly. Cleanly. Like someone walked up and flipped a switch." Song Hai pulled up the tactical display. Kepler 7 was a tomb world where an ancient civilization had died from a plague. The automated defenses had killed anyone who tried to land there. Until now. "Any signs of human presence?" she asked into the communicator. "That's the strange part, ma'am. We found landing traces. Ships touched down for exactly 4 hours. When they left, the defense grid was completely offline, and the planetary surface had been excavated carefully, like archaeological work, but done in impossible time. Songhai closed a file and opened another. The pattern was the same everywhere. Ancient ruins explored and emptied overnight. Dangerous phenomena studied and neutralized. Areas marked as deadly to all life suddenly safe and accessible. On her main screen, she watched a recording from explorer Kim Won. His ship had discovered an archaeological team working in the Crimson Nebula, where radiation should have killed them in seconds. The humans wore no protective suits. They breathed the poison air like it was normal atmosphere. "Look at how they move," Kim Won's voice whispered on the recording. "Too smooth, too fast. Watch their eyes." Songhai focused on the human faces in the footage. Their eyes reflected light differently now, catching and holding illumination like mirrors. When they turned their heads, the movement was liquid smooth, without the small jerky motions that marked normal biological reflexes. Her assistant, Officer Park Dow, entered with another stack of reports. His usually calm face was pale with worry. "Ma'am, we have 17 more sightings from the past week. Human vessels appearing at system edges, conducting deep scans, then vanishing before we can respond. But that's not the worst part." "What is?" Songhai asked, though she dreaded the answer. "The ships are changing design mid-flight, reshaping themselves, growing new components as they encountered different environments. The whole seemed to be alive." Songhai stood and walked to her office window. Outside, the star field looked normal, but she knew that somewhere in that darkness, humanity was becoming something unprecedented. Her communicator buzzed with an urgent message from the ethereal collective. The energy beings were the galaxy's most powerful psychics, able to see across vast distances and peer into possible futures. Their representative's voice carried pure terror. "Our seers report visions they cannot interpret," the ethereal whispered. "Humans wielding technologies that predate known civilization. Impossible sciences made real. And something else, they are changing not just their tools, but themselves." The worst report came from Captain O'Min, commanding a long-range patrol near the Forbidden Sectors. His message arrived during Songhai's emergency briefing with the council delegates. "We observed a human research team investigating the Void Cascade. O'Min transmitted. That quantum anomaly destroyed our 3 best research vessels 20 years ago. The humans worked inside it for 6 hours. When they finished, the anomaly was gone. Not contained, not deflected, eliminated from existence." The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. The Void Cascade had been a natural phenomenon that consumed matter and energy, growing larger every year. Nothing should have been able to stop it. "How many humans?" asked the Zephyrian delegate, its crystal body flickering with nervous energy. 12, O'Min replied. "But, sir, they didn't look entirely human anymore. Taller, moving with impossible coordination, and their technology responded to thoughts, not manual controls. The ships moved like extensions of their bodies." Dr. Kong Say, the council's xenopsychologist, provided his analysis with visible reluctance. "We're witnessing accelerated evolution, possibly guided by technologies we don't understand. The humans appear to be integrating ancient knowledge with biological enhancement." "What does that mean?" asked the Altarian delegate. "It means they're becoming something new," Kongse replied quietly. "Something that makes our previous understanding of them obsolete." The most terrifying report came from the edge of human space itself. Scout Li Young had been monitoring the border when she witnessed something that defied explanation. "A dead star suddenly ignited," she transmitted, her voice barely steady. "A star that had been cold for a million years. Human ships surrounded it for 3 days. Then the star began burning again. They turned a dead sun into a living one." Songhai compiled all the reports into a single briefing document. The conclusion was inescapable. Humanity had not simply left the council table. They had transcended the need for conventional civilization entirely. Every dangerous region of space was becoming a human laboratory. Every impossible challenge was becoming a human achievement, and the humans themselves were evolving beyond recognition. As Songhai prepared to present her findings to the full council, one final message arrived. It came from deep space, from coordinates that should have been empty vacuum. The transmission was simple, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect galactic standard language. We remember who we were. We know what we are becoming. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us. The message ended, leaving the Council to confront a terrifying new reality. Humanity was no longer asking for acceptance. They had evolved beyond needing it. 2 years had passed since humanity abandoned the Council table, and the galaxy would never be the same. Ambassador Lim Su stood on the observation deck of her flagship, watching another delegation prepare to leave. The Kellery system representatives climbed aboard their transport, carrying signed alliance agreements with humanity. That makes 23 minor systems this month, reported her aide, Diplomat Bei Wu. His enhanced neural interface flickered softly behind his left ear as he accessed the latest data. The Council's influence drops every week. Lim Su nodded, her own modifications allowing her to process information at speeds that would have been impossible before. Through the transparent steel window, she observed what had once been an unremarkable star system. Now, the asteroid belt hummed with manufacturing stations that built themselves, expanding and adapting as needed. 3 dead worlds bloomed with engineered forests that changed color with the seasons, growing faster and stronger each year. But it was the humans working in the system that marked the greatest change. They moved with fluid grace, their enhanced bodies allowing them to work in vacuum without suits, to withstand radiation that would kill unmodified beings. Their eyes held depths that reflected starlight, and when they spoke, their voices carried harmonics that resonated with the technology around them. "Ma'am," Bei Wu said quietly, "incoming priority transmission from Nexus Prime." The holographic display activated, showing the Council chamber where 12 species had once dictated galactic policy. Now only 7 delegates remained. The others had quietly established their own relationships with humanity, unwilling to be left behind as the galaxy transformed. The Zephyrian delegate appeared on screen, its crystal body dim with worry. The arrogance from 2 years ago was completely gone. "Ambassador Lim Su," it said, its voice lacking any authority. "The Council wishes to discuss reopening diplomatic relations with humanity." Lim Su smiled, but the expression would have unsettled anyone who remembered her from before the enhancement. Her movements were too precise, her awareness too complete. "How interesting," she replied calmly. "And what does the Council offer humanity in return for this relationship?" The Zephyrian's lights flickered uncertainly. We acknowledge that our previous approach may have been hasty. Perhaps we can find a new arrangement that benefits everyone." Through her neural link, Lim Su accessed reports from across human space. Planets transformed in months instead of centuries. Technologies that merged ancient knowledge with innovations beyond galactic understanding. Most importantly, humans themselves evolving into something that bridged the gap between biology and pure intelligence. "The galaxy is vast enough for all of us," she said, repeating the message humanity had broadcast 2 years earlier. "But understand, we are no longer the species you thought you knew. We have learned from every civilization that came before us. We have mastered every challenge you deemed impossible. We have evolved beyond the limitations that bound all previous galactic powers." On screen, the Council delegates shifted nervously. Behind them, Lim Su could see the empty chairs where other species once sat. The Manthari had joined humanity 6 months ago. The Altarians had signed protection agreements. Even some Korvani worlds had requested human assistance with their failing infrastructure. "What exactly are you saying?" asked the Ethereal Collective representative, its energy form pulsing with anxiety. "I'm saying we're not asking for permission anymore," Lim Su replied. Her voice carried the same calm tone, but now it resonated with harmonics that made the Council chamber's computers briefly flicker. The transmission ended, leaving the remaining Council members in silence. Through her enhanced senses, Lim Su could feel their fear even across the vast distance. Outside her ship, human vessels moved through space with impossible grace. The ships seemed to flow rather than fly, their hulls reshaping themselves as they encountered different gravitational fields. Some were piloted by enhanced humans, others by artificial intelligences that had learned to think and feel. The distinction had become less important as both evolved together. Commander Park Jean approached the observation deck. His modifications were more extensive than most. His skin held a faint metallic sheen, and his eyes glowed softly with internal light. He had volunteered for deep space exploration, spending months in environments that would kill normal humans. "The frontier teams report success in the Omega Sector," he said. "3 more impossible worlds brought to life. The ancient machines that have been activated and integrated into our network." Lim Su nodded. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy's dangerous regions. They had made friends with them. Ancient technologies responded to human touch. Dead civilizations' knowledge flowed freely to human minds. Hostile environments became gardens under human care. "Any resistance from the local species?" she asked. "None. The vegan collective has requested our help with their dying sun. The Proxima settlements want to learn our terraforming techniques." Fear is giving way to curiosity. Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Species that had once demanded human submission now begged for human partnership. The Council's authority crumbled as world after world chose humanity's future over the Council's past. In the deep archives of human space, enhanced historians recorded the transformation. They wrote of the day humanity left the table where others demanded they sit. They documented the evolution that followed, not just of human technology, but of human nature itself. The galaxy had tried to contain humanity's potential. Instead, they had freed it completely. Now, as human ships carried hope to dying worlds and human minds solved problems that had plagued the galaxy for millennia, one truth became clear. The age of limits was over. The age of infinite possibility had begun. And humanity, transformed beyond recognition, but still recognizably human at heart, reached out to embrace a galaxy that finally understood what they had always known. The universe belonged to those brave enough to claim it.